Okay, now you can hear me. All right, just trying to make sure that I have everything ready to go so you guys can hear me and see me and all that jazz. Okay, I think we're ready. Oh wow, you guys have been on already and chatting. I just love it. Awesome. Thanks for the confirmation that you guys can hear and see me. Very much appreciated. Hi Steve. Hi Barbara. Hi Mina. Hi Rachel. Glad you can be here. I know you've had some troubles joining the live stream with timing and all that. So lovely to have you guys here. Hi Angela. Hi Shirley. Hi Chris. Hi Rich. Just hoping everybody is having a great week so far. Hi Jeff. Hi Estella. It's a toasty week, I tell ya. It's been pretty toasty, but we went fishing today. So we live at like 9,000 feet, but there's a really wonderful lake that's about at 10,000 feet. So we have to drive up a little bit higher to get to it, but it was really nice. It was a little bit cooler there, which was lovely, but the flies were horrible, and they kept biting me on the hands, and then my fingers would swell up and I couldn't use my hands. So fortunately, I think that's all done. I was a little bit concerned because I kept getting bit like in the knuckles and stuff, and then I couldn't like flex my hands. So that's mostly gone, which is really great. We didn't catch any fish, but it was still fun, and definitely a little bit cooler than where we are today. So hi Cheryl. Hi Lisa. Let's see who else is here. Hi Vicky. So glad everybody can be here. We have a lot more people tonight. Hi Tracy. So that's great. Yeah, the lake is beautiful. It's one of the most popular places to go in our area, and it always has been. It's a man-made lake that my grandfather actually helped build a very long time ago. I've been going there my whole life, so fun to take the kids, and we didn't get any fish. I got like one little nibble. Some fish came and stole my worm, but that was about it. We saw a hawk. It was actually an eagle. It was like a big brown eagle. It wasn't a bald eagle, but pretty cool. All right. So my tape is not functioning very well. All right. So tonight we are working on this really fun and interesting and a little bit intricate. Barbara, I think it was a golden eagle. He was huge. He was about the size of a bald eagle. And I got some video of him, so that was pretty fun. Okay, I'm going to shift this here a little bit, guys. Oh, maybe. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Mina says, I believe the whole earth is in the oven. Yeah, it's just like really warm. Anyway, so tonight's project is this piece of wood is basswood. It's an 8 by 10 inch, like from its largest dimensions, but you can see it has kind of a little bit of a beveled edge, which is pretty cool. So the actual working size here is about 6.5 inches wide by 8.5 inches tall. So the pattern that I sent out to the people on Patreon is already that size. So you can just print it out, and it's not very difficult. So if you've not joined on Patreon yet, please consider doing so. It helps me to create free material like this live stream and get more information out to people just a little bit easier. It allows me to buy more art supplies, buy more wood, and otherwise keep the lights on here at the studio. So I really appreciate everybody's support, and especially the people on Patreon. And the people that are on Patreon, you get the patterns for free. So that's a really cool perk as well. And then you get access to all of our past live streams. So there's 60 live streams on there right now. So you can go through and kind of pick and choose your projects if you're new. And it's a great, great resource of information. Mina, you have links. I don't know what changed, but you can do links now. Yay! So Mina just put in the link to my Patreon page. Thank you, Mina. Steve is asking how long did it take me to transfer the pattern onto the wood. It took me about 30 minutes. And I did that really quickly this morning because I was trying to get out the door to go fishing. So yeah, Mina, I don't know what changed, but yeah, you can post links now. Thank you. Very, very good. Also, I did post a lot of the links that I generally talk about in the video description as well. So if there is problems with links, you can always go back to the video description and just take a look at those links in there for some of the projects that we are talking about. So, you know, we talked about last time doing a simple project this time. And I tell you what, guys, my idea of simple sometimes is not everybody else's idea of simple. So, this is still a simple design in the fact that we don't have like a lot of crazy fur texture and heavy realism, but it is pretty intricate. There's a lot of lines, a lot of intricate details. So hopefully we can burn through this and make some really good progress tonight. I think that I will probably start doing the line work with the mini flow point that comes with the Versatool kit. I can't get some of the super fine lines with that, but I can do a lot of just the standard lines. I also have the Pro Point or the baby shader plugged in and ready to go, and I also have the standard shader ready to go. So these are probably the 3 tools that I'm going to be using for the project tonight. So here we go. Thank you, admins. I really appreciate it. Tracy, you're saying that you're a Patreon member and you can't upgrade to the next level without purchasing a whole new membership. Did you pay yearly, Tracy? I can't recall, but it should be pretty simple to upgrade. I know that I've upgraded in the past on other platforms. And I don't know, Mina, if you could take a look and see if you can find out. Shoot, there is a setting where you just go from place to place to upgrade a membership, and I can't remember how to do that. So all these lines are pretty dark. I'm so close to burning, but I think I'm going to sand some of these down really quick because some of them are a little bit more wispy and faded. What is this? 3500. Let's see. Nope. Let's try something more. What's this one? 220. Oh, it kind of made it muddy. It's not very cool. Ooh, but that helps. So when I sanded it with that other one, it kind of like just turned the graphite lines into kind of a blob and made it like the wood darker. It was weird. That this graphite paper that I used to transfer this on was really pretty fresh, and so I think there's just a lot of carbon on there. Not carbon, it's graphite. Sorry. Steve, yes, I did use graphite paper to transfer. Okay. So I don't really have much of a plan on this one as far as like a systematic, you know, burn the eyes first and then move on to the nose and then move on to this other thing. I am just going to kind of start, and you can see that I'm just kind of jumping around and burning areas that are easy for me to burn in my current position. Whoa, that got away. Yikes. It'll be a shadow. We'll make it a shadow. It'll be fine. So I found that when I was transferring this on, I'm like, okay, I'm going to transfer like this on this side and then that on that side. And I kept jumping back and forth, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go wherever the whim and wind takes me at this point, because this is a very complicated pattern. And if it's not exactly like mirror imaged symmetrical, that's okay. And I did have a problem as I was transferring this on. My paper kept shifting, so I know some of my lines are not quite where they should be, which was a bit stressful. Didn't make me very happy, but not much I could do at that point. Like I said, I was really trying to hurry and get out the door today. I couldn't decide on which project to do, guys. So I was out of time. I'm like, oh, let's just do this wolf one. It's not that hard. And then I got into it, and I'm starting to transfer it, and I'm thinking, well, maybe it is, you know, it's very intricate. Lots of little lines. Not much texture, but a lot of lines. But the mini flow point does offer just a really nice way to create these very thin lines, which is pretty cool. Okay, so Tracy, you're trying to get into the Patreon settings. I know I had to Google it on how to upgrade a membership on Patreon, and I finally found it, and it told me step by step. I know I've helped other people do that, but I can't recall. Tracy, it did kind of smear the graphite paper there. I think it was such a new piece of paper. There was a ton of graphite paper on there, but oh well. Okay, thanks, Steve. I find that a lot of things are maybe simple to burn. There's a difference, I think, between simple and easy, but this should be fairly simple to burn. It's mostly just lines, but there's a lot of lines. But when you're doing delicate lines like this, really make sure that you have a very light pressure. Allow the point to just gently float across the surface of the wood. If you press down really hard, I know some people like that effect of pressing down and kind of indenting the wood. That's fine if that's the style that you're trying to achieve, but keep in mind that if you press down really hard and you hit certain grain patterns, it can the wood itself can make your burner shift and kind of jump, and then you're not going to have very even lines. So like if we look here on the back side, hasn't been sanded or anything, but another thing, if you press down really hard and you're not consistent with your travel speed, you can get a lot of those stop spots, kind of irregular lines that aren't very smooth. So that's why I think that just using a very light, steady pressure tends to create a much better line when you're done. So lighter pressure, I think, is better. But if you really like indenting the wood, find a point that can actually cut into the wood a little bit like a knife. There are some knife points that really cut into the wood. And again, it's just kind of a personal preference on my part. I also try to avoid that ghosting or overburn where you get like an orange flash kind of around your lines because you're burning at such a high temperature. I try to avoid that at all possible, if at all possible, but some people like it, so go ahead and experiment and see what you like best. And turn the wood. We've talked about that so many times. I burn these pieces just straight so I don't make you guys dizzy, but turn the wood. It makes it so much easier to work in angles that support your hand type, whether you're right-handed or left-handed. Turn the wood. And do I need to zoom in, guys? I know I'm kind of way up there at the top of the project. If you would like me to zoom in, just let me know. Lisa, you've had the paper shift when tracing too. Yeah, that's pretty frustrating. Even more frustrating is when you get done transferring an image. I did one of it was like a 16 by 20 inch piece with mountain lions. And it took me 2 hours to transfer the image on. I was pretty much a beginner at that point. And when I was done, I lifted off the reference photo and the graphite paper, and there was nothing there. The image, my graphite paper was upside down, and everything got transferred onto the back of my reference photo, which was a horrible feeling. But all you can do is turn the graphite paper the right way and transfer it on again. So, frustrating. But I tell you what, I haven't really, I bet I have done that again, transferring with graphite paper upside down. But usually once I start transferring my image, I take a peek underneath to make sure that it's the right way. It's not upside down. And I'm like, oh good, it's the right way. I can carry on. But I bet a lot of you guys have probably done the same thing with your graphite paper upside down, because sometimes it's hard to tell. You know, there's a shiny side and a dull side. For the longest time, I had to like test it with my fingernail to see which side of the graphite paper was up or the right way. All part of the learning curve, though. Oh, I'm getting behind on chat. Bink, bink, bink. Hi, Dennis. Larry says, I use carpenter's tape to tape it onto the wood, usually a strip at the top. That's good, too. Barbara uses drafting tape. You know, I use kind of whatever tape I can find because my tape tends to walk away from my desk all the time. From little kids, or one little kid always taking my tape, so I use whatever tape is around. Painter's tape works pretty good, but not for very long. It gets non-sticky pretty quick. Okay, so Mina has an idea for Tracy. Cool. Whoa. Barbara, will I be adding color to this one? I think I'm going to have to add color. This is such a cool project. Color would be a lot of fun. I think Jeff says you want me to zoom in. Jeff just says yes, please. So I'm assuming that you want me to zoom in. So let's take a look at that. So we can zoom in and do a little adjustment here. Okay. How's that, guys? Is that a little bit better? I know that you guys like to see the reference photo and the image, so here. we'll kind of go like that for now. I'll work on this side maybe, and we'll just go from there. I might move me. I'm gonna put myself way up in the corner there. You don't need to see me anyway. This is the good stuff right here. Okay. So, Lisa, you've done that too with the graphite paper upside down, and you have to constantly, yeah, I'm like, is it still there? I keep peeking underneath to make sure it's still there. You guys have done it too, Laura, yeah. Oh, you guys are great. Okay. Just checking. Hi, Mellow Yellow. Okay. You guys might. All right. Okay. So we've zoomed in a little bit, and that helps. You can still see me. I'm like way up in the corner there. I'm hiding. But that's okay. I'm a hermit anyway, guys, so hiding is pretty natural for me. So now some of these lines are thicker than other lines. Right now, all I'm doing is basically just going over my transfer lines just to lay them in. So I guess you could say that that is step one. Hi, Fatima. You could say that that is step one in this process, is that we're just going to outline the lines that are on the graphite paper. So don't worry about all this complex stuff right now with values or shading or darker areas. We're just going to work on our lines. Mostly the thinner lines. Some of the other lines are going to be, that's where that shifted. Okay. I knew my paper was shifting, so found it. And now if you want to make some of these lines even a little bit more dainty and delicate, you can totally do that. I'm going kind of fast here, just trying to keep things moving. But you can use a smaller point than this, something really delicate, for some of these really fine lines. That might be kind of fun to add in a little bit later. Whoa, that got wonky. So this is not a good arc for my hand. This is why turning the wood is helpful. I am getting better at working out of my comfort zone though, just out of practice. Thank you guys for being so welcoming to people that join the chat. You guys are just the most wonderful group of people. It's so lovely to be a part of your lives and everything here on our little art channel. It's just, you guys are awesome. And so I am burning with this on high. Generally I do use the Versatool on high. Unless I'm doing something that I need a lot of control with, like, shading really delicate facial tones, or, you know, like if you burn a portrait and you have to burn the really careful areas around the nose and all the features, but you don't want to put in heavy lines. So that's when I'm going to turn the burner down. Anytime I need just a little bit more control in that regard. Thanks, guys. Team Minisa is awesome. The Burning Bears, we are just awesome. Oh, and Barbara sent me some wonderful pictures of Bernie the Bear in his t-shirt. So Bernie the Bear has a wood burning t-shirt, and I love the photos. They are so great. I'm going to be putting those on Yeah, on wood burning university, so I should be home tomorrow. I'm going to try to get some stuff taken care of in the office tomorrow. The sheep are gone from our house, thank goodness. They did a good job eating everything down, all the bushes. So I know that the last live stream, you guys could hear the sheep in the background, and I took some amazing video right after the live stream of the sheep swarming the house, and they got into like, it was like the perpetual line of sheep. It was never ending sheep because they would come up the driveway and go around the house and come back around and then just file right back into the driveway, and it was just like this constant cycle of sheep. But I got some really fun video, and I would like to share with you guys. I'm not sure what the best platform would be, so you guys could see, you know, the crazy sheep that we had, or maybe, you know, some pictures from our fishing trip, or something a little bit more personal than just art, if that's something that you guys are interested in. I suppose I could put those on Patreon, or I could put them on maybe like my YouTube, not my YouTube, my Facebook page. I haven't even been on Facebook for so long, but let me know, guys, what would be the best platform. I don't think I really want to put them on YouTube, but I could put them on either Patreon. But if not everybody is on Patreon, then you wouldn't get to see that. I don't know. So I would either put it on Patreon or Facebook. I suppose I could do both, guys. You guys would like to see the photos? Okay, cool. I would like to share more of kind of behind the scenes, what goes on here in my life with you guys. I just didn't want to like bombard you with personal stuff if you're like, I am here for business, I am here for artwork, show me the art, don't show me anything else, you know. I didn't want to maybe like dilute the art feed with personal stuff, but you know, I don't put a lot of this stuff on my personal Facebook anyway, so kind of rambling here. Thanks for letting me just kind of think out loud. But if that's something that you guys would be interested in, I can totally make that happen. So you guys are saying that you'd like to see some of that stuff. Okay, cool. Yeah, the lake that we went to is just beautiful. Okay, so I could try the Facebook page. Barbara's saying I could attach them to the reminder live stream email you sent out. I haven't sent out an email in so long. Oh, I think you guys get an automatic one from Patreon. Okay, so you guys would like to see some more of that stuff. Okay, cool. No need to be sheepish, Larry. Okay. Alrighty. Because I have wanted to share some of these things that I think are really cool in my life, but didn't want to like almost like impose. You know, you're here for the art, and you know, what's all this other stuff. So okay. All right, thanks, Lisa. Lisa says personal stuff is what brings you to us. You're totally down to earth, and that's a lot of the appeal. Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you guys for that little bit of maybe confidence boosting or just confirmation. And I will get that set up. So I do have some fun things that we do up here. Different. We have a very different life than a lot of people. So I even thought about making like a separate YouTube channel just to share kind of some of the like outdoorsy, crazy I mean, we don't call ourselves, we're not like a homesteader or anything like that. We just live way up in the mountains. And so I even thought about making like a little YouTube channel specifically for, like, I have these crazy videos of turkeys chasing each other, and they're gobbling and they're attacking each other, and they're doing like turkey kung fu. And I think it'd be really, really neat to share that with people. So I could even set up a separate YouTube channel. I'm just thinking about how it would be easiest for me to upload stuff onto which platform. So just thinking out loud, guys, of all the things that I've thought about. I have more thoughts and like projects than I could manage. It's a blessing and a curse, I swear. But hi Terry. Oh. I have to go back up here. Hi Hand Engraving. Let's just see. So Jeff is not on Patreon. Okay, Facebook would be good for Jeff. You're welcome, Barbara. Thank you so much for sending the photos of Bernie the bear. I love it. Awesome. Thanks, guys. So Larry, hi Larry H. You're saying that I might want to verify the videos listed in the playlists on YouTube because there are a couple that aren't Wood Burning University content. The channel originally started as Minisa Pyrography, and I changed the name to Wood Burning University because I was like right at 20,000 subscribers, and I didn't want to start over with Wood Burning University. So that's a good idea. I'm not very good at organizing and categorizing my playlists, and a lot of times they just are just like floating out there in YouTube space. So I'll take a look at making sure that the playlists are more accurate. Thank you for that notification. So glad you can make it, Terry. So Larry, we do have a Facebook group for the people on Patreon, and then I also have, like, if you just go to Facebook and look up Wood Burning University, I have a page on there as well. I haven't posted, I think, since like May. Again, not a very good business owner on that one, but I got really sick in May and I just haven't gotten back to posting. Okay, yep, Larry, you just joined Patreon last week. That is so awesome. Thank you. And then you just go to Facebook, and there is, I think it's still like Minisa Robinson's Patreon group on Facebook or something. It's a really weird name. I need to change it. And I need to check when, like I check maybe like once or twice a week when people join into that group, because you have to be approved. So I need to check that as well. Lisa, my son is liking his job. Thank you. It's working out pretty well so far. It's just part-time, so it's a good transition for him, and yeah, it's all working out really well so far. And my car is fixed. Yay, my husband fixed my car. and got that going, so, because it was stuck in neutral. Some little piece of plastic on the bottom of the car that like controls how the shifter goes into the different gears, it broke. So after some YouTube research and climbing underneath the car, he got that all fixed, which is really, really great. Thank you for your support, Barbara. Yeah, I think the more you get to know me, I am like into everything, and I get really like distracted, and then I have a hard time like getting back to things. I love starting projects, but I have a hard time finishing or maintaining them. So that's kind of a personal area that I'm working on. So it's like, you know, hey, what happened to the, you know, this project or that pattern? I'm like, oh, I completely forgot about that because I'm on to this other new thing. So I love learning new things, and I love doing new things. When it comes to like repetitive things or like emails, you'll find that I am definitely needing work on some of those areas. So if I do get like take a while to get back to people, like, oh my gosh, it's been 3 weeks and I haven't gotten back to this person. So I do apologize to that for that, and I'm just now realizing that that's kind of in my nature is like a hermit that I put myself out into the world for just a little bit, and then I have to just hide, and I just run away. And even from emails, it's like I don't even want to look at my computer. I'm just gonna read this book, or I'm gonna research this. Like all summer I've been researching wild plants and medicinal plants, and I've been making tinctures and drying herbs, and just being fascinated with learning all the plants that are up here. And so I get like those little obsessions, you know, these new things that pop up, and I just love them, and I get sidetracked on that, and then I lose track of time, and then it's like, oh no, I have a live stream tonight. I am not ready for the live stream, and then I promised my daughter to take her fishing today, so I got up early this morning. I'm like, oh no, I have all these things to do. So I got back with people on email, and then I got made the send out for this, got the live stream all set up, sat down, transferred this thing out, and then went and made sandwiches to go fishing. So I'm trying to be, I guess maybe a little bit more transparent in my failings as far as like getting back to people and planning ahead for projects and stuff like that is definitely not some of my strong suits. So I do really appreciate everybody's patience in that regard. I feel like I'm not really prepared a lot of the times for some of these things, but such is life. And that's kind of my personality, and I'm working on it. So thank you everybody for your patience and allowing me to be a human. So, oh, you guys do it too? Okay. Well, that makes me feel better, guys, because I get so sidetracked with the newest thing to learn. I'm really quite surprised that I've lasted with wood burning this long, because I do get into a project or like an art medium, a new thing, and I'm like, oh, and I just devote all my time to it. And after a while, once I figure it out, it loses the kind of the magic or the captivation for it, and I wind up not coming back to that for like a year or two. So the fact that I'm still wood burning is actually kind of funny, because it doesn't follow a lot of the other patterns in my life. But I love you guys, and I love spending this time with you, and I think that's probably a big reason for me just sticking in here Otherwise, I'd be like Hammy the squirrel on that that cartoon Over the Hedge, man. They gave that squirrel like an energy drink and he was just everywhere. So sometimes that's me. And then I get so many projects going, I don't even know which one to do, and so I wind up doing nothing. So, people are crazy, huh? Just, humanity is funny. So Mina, yes, plants are very awesome. Tracy, you get scattered as well. Yeah, and then you just feel like you're spinning. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. I have all these things started and all these things to do. I don't even know which one to do. So, glad that you guys can relate. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, Mina. Thank you, Barbara. Awesome. Thanks, guys. So Lisa is saying maybe I can make a pattern. Where did I miss that? Oh, Larry, there it is. Does anyone have a good, clear template image of the Neuschwanstein Castle? I don't know. I would take a look at, if you want to do, I'm not saying that right, probably Neuschwanstein, whatever, Castle. Take a look at, I think, Pixabay or Unsplash. That's a pretty popular castle. I bet you could find a reference photo for that. I know I started a scratch board of that castle like when I was in high school and I still haven't finished it. So, which is kind of consistent for me. And I could look at making a pattern for that as well. So you guys all have projects, too many projects going as well. You are my people. I can totally relate. So I'm just kind of jabbering here as I'm burning these lines. Again, they're all very similar thickness and all that. But we'll get probably like maybe an hour in, and then I might change things up. Let me see if I can at least like get half of the wolf kind of blocked in. And then we can play with some thicker lines and some shading, etc. Yes, Mina, there is a Facebook group that has free reference photos for artists as well. That's a very cool group. Laura, your husband's always asking you if you're going to finish the projects you've started. I don't think my husband like even asks anymore. He's just like, I'm just not even going to look. Oh gosh. Is it something with artists, you guys think, of all the multitude of projects? I think as artists we love to learn new things and to attempt to master them. I know that's a big thing for me, is trying to learn and then master something. And then it's like once I get there, I'm like, okay. It's kind of like, you know, when I did Taekwondo, I got up to third degree black belt, and then, well, COVID hit and everything got shut down, and in order to go back, I have to like rememorize a tremendous amount of information, and I just had so many other projects going that I didn't have time to rememorize everything, so I really haven't gotten back into the martial arts, but I really should. Really good exercise. But I almost want to learn a new martial art. You know? Or just keep going up and then maybe try to test for 4th degree would be fun, because then I can learn new stuff on that adventure. But I like learning new things. Oh, I better check the chat, huh? So Barbara looked on Pixabay, and there are a lot of photos of the Neuschwanstein Castle on Pixabay. Very cool. Hi, TH. Glad you can be here tonight. Yeah, Pixabay and Unsplash are some really great platforms that offer high quality reference photos that you can use for your projects. I think you can even sell your projects too. So that's pretty cool. Oh, that was not a good curve. Oh, good. I'm like, I thought I was too far down on the board here, but you can still see what I'm doing. So that's good. Tracy, yes. Hold on. I know on Pixabay you can copy and recreate artwork on Pixabay and on Unsplash, and the Facebook group reference photos for artists. You can create, basically it's an artistic derivative or derivative, I don't know how you say it, but an artistic rendition of their pictures. So you're allowed to do that on Pixabay and Unsplash and that other Facebook group, which is pretty cool. Okay, so still just really focusing on our fine lines here. I'm going to try to at least get like half of him done by 7 or close to it, and then we'll start working on some shading and kind of add a little bit more interest and excitement here. Tracy, yeah, this one's going really fast tonight. I'm trying to stay focused here. I know sometimes I get to talking and not burning, so I'm trying to do a little bit of both. Hi, Jim. Glad you can be here tonight. Amina, yeah, I know. I did not start with the eyes this time. Normally I do. Yep, that's a good spot. This one is, in my book, kind of simple, so I didn't feel the strong need to start with the eyes because I figured that they'll work out just fine. But normally, especially with realistic work, I do always start with the eyes. Because if you don't get those eyes right, man, it's just not going to work. Can't believe I'm doing these curves off, like kind of offhanded. That's making me happy. And then I'm gonna like totally mess them up because I said something, huh? Just kind of going with the flow here. And I guess you could say that a simple project might be one that you can actually complete in a shorter amount of time. I guess that would be, maybe that's what I was thinking when I did this, this is more of a simple project because it can be completed in a shorter time frame. So Lisa, you need to send your husband upstairs every week because you're watching it on your TV. Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. I bet it's like really, well, big, and I bet you can see all kinds of details. So that's pretty cool. Like I'm seeing like a little tiny version on my computer screen. I have like half of the computer screen is what you guys see, plus all the little information as far as which cameras are on and all the technical stuff. And then the other side is the back end of the live stream, so where I can see the chat and everything. So what I actually see on the screen is pretty small compared to what you can. Uh-oh, I'm about out of the screen. Okay. I remembered this time. Let me move down. Oh, look at that. Sorry, guys. Larry is saying, so if I botch the eyes or overburn an important spot, do I just start over or change the image entirely? If I'm working with a realistic image, I have to be very, very careful that I get those eyes just as perfect or close to perfect as I possibly can. Generally I start with the eyes and they work out because I spend a lot of time on the eyes to begin with to make sure that they're good. The only time that I really had a problem and I had to completely start over was I was doing a portrait about this size and I was a bit more, not quite a beginner, but definitely still learning the different types of wood. And there was some, it wasn't the best piece of wood to burn on, and I just could not get the eyes to work out in this portrait of a lady. And so I wound up scrapping the entire piece and I just started over. And I started over with a better selected piece of wood and everything went out, kind of came together just fine. But had I waited and done the eyes at the very end, that would have been a lot of time that I couldn't get back, and I would have to do the entire thing over again. So, good question, Larry H. Yeah, if you botch the eyes really bad, just go ahead and take a break. Hey, Jim, you vacationed in Colorado last week? Awesome. You did family climbs near Rifle. Yep. That Rifle Mountain Park that you did climbing on, that's like right near my property. So very cool. It's right near my family's property, so. But yep, I've been through Rifle Mountain Park so many times to get up to our family property. A lot of my family actually homesteaded that area. So very, very cool. Alrighty. Keystone is a beautiful place, Larry Hendricks. Yep. It's a very lovely area. I don't think they're quite as high as we are here, but it's pretty comparable elevation-wise. But Keystone is very lovely. Wow, Jeff, you got a lot of rain. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, Jim H. Yeah, if your family, if you're in the area again, let me know, because that's, yep, that's right. Like, I overlook that area from my house. Rifle Mountain Park is really, really cool. It's some of the best rock climbing, I think, in the world. I did climb a little bit. Somebody took me up there one time before I had kids, so rock climbing was a little bit easier back then. But it was so fun. I would love to do it again, but I don't really know enough. I've never taken a course. I don't know the equipment and stuff. I can tie certain knots, but rock climbing is so fun. I would love to do more of that. I did a lot of rappelling in, I did search and rescue for a long time, and so we did rappelling where I always wanted to rappel out of a helicopter. I didn't get to do that, but I got to rappel off of buildings and down cliff faces. I did get to get out of a helicopter while it was hovering as part of our search and rescue hot unloading, so that was pretty cool. But rock climbing would be fun to do more of. Sorry guys, kind of rambling off the segue there. Hello, Hymn Artists. Glad that you can be here tonight. This is a lot of fun. The wood burning of the wolf is coming along pretty well. Here in just a couple minutes, I'm going to probably switch over to some other points, and we're going to start adding in some of the shading, thicken up some of our lines, and make it a little bit more interesting instead of just kind of blocking in our main sketch here. Thanks, Terry. Terry says I'm a one tough cookie. Oh, thanks. I really enjoyed being on the rope as far as rock climbing and all that and rappelling. It was so fun. I'd love to do more of that. But you got to be careful when you get out of a helicopter when it's like just hovering, because when you step out, the weight transfers and the pilot has to like adjust it. So if you ever get into a chance where you have to get out of a helicopter or in one while it's running, transfer your weight as slowly and as evenly as possible, because if you like jump, then the helicopter shifts and the pilot gets kind of grumpy because he has to not like kill everybody because you jumped and shifted the weight of the helicopter. One of those, if you're an information person, you can file that away for later use. If not, that's okay. Just, it's a fun story. So Terry, you botched a piece that was more than halfway through. You chalked it up to a learning experience and you'll attempt it again at a later date. Yep, I agree. There's some pieces that are just, for whatever reason, don't seem to work out the way we envision it in our heads, and that can be kind of frustrating. But it's all just a learning experience for sure. Jim, you don't climb, but your family does. Awesome. You do carving and pyrography. That's the extent of your risk taking. Cool. And that's just fine too. Everybody has their cup of tea. We did, like, if you know of Rifle, you probably, GMH, you probably know of the Glenwood Springs Adventure Park. And we were up there, I don't know, last week or something. The kids had friends in from out of town, and My son, my older son, he loves the rides. And they're like loop-de-loops and throwing you over the edge of a canyon and stuff like this. And I'm like, no way. I'm not doing those crazy rides. Hey, kiddo.
It was fun going on that one with me and Will.
Yeah, even my daughter. She's a bit young for most of the rides, but she likes the rides too. Not my cup of tea. I'm not doing it. Mainly because I get like really motion sick, and I'm not gonna spend the rest of the day green, colored green and feeling really yucky, and not quite worth it for the motion sickness. But other things like the rappelling and all that, it was like stationary, so it was a lot of fun. It didn't make me sick. Larry says you hope to eventually do this wolf. Yes, this would sell really well, like for Christmas, absolutely. Terry, you're afraid of heights. You wouldn't do that very well. Yeah, I don't like deep water either, Terry. If I can touch the bottom of a pool, I'm okay. Even with a life jacket, I don't like deep water. You guys are all the same. No, we don't like heights. Nope. Yeah. Awesome, guys. Okay, I agree with you. When I was younger, I couldn't do, well, I did do a couple little rides as a teenager, but I'm like, whoa, I'm not feeling really good. I need to quit. And my friends are like, oh, come on, let's do another one. Let's do another one. And then we did like circles. Ugh. And I was sick for the rest of the afternoon, like on the verge of losing my cookies for hours. And ever since then, I'm like, it's really not worth it. I'm okay. I'm not going to do the merry-go-round of death. Thank you, I'll pass. Okay, so what a funny conversation we're having tonight, guys. It makes the time go by pretty fast, though. Okay, so it's 7 o'clock. We're about an hour into the project so far. I think I'm going to kind of switch over to a little bit of shading and a little bit of thickening of lines. Because see, there's a lot of dark sections in here, a lot of negative space that we can put in. Anyway, so let's start with that. And I think we're going to start with those eyes because that is just what we do around here. So, thanks, Barbara. Oh my goodness, Terry, you had a bad experience with a roller coaster. That is so scary. I get scared watching my kids do it. It's scary. Tracy, that's a very good point as well as far as doing rides because of neck and back injuries, because I'm like right there with you. Too many neck and back injuries over the years. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna kind of block in the eyes and get that situated. So I'm still going to use the mini flow point for right now. Okay, my head is like right there. I'm going to kind of even up this arc a little bit. I got a little bit wonky. I think it was on the transfer that I got a little bit weird. Dennis recommends skydiving. I don't know, Dennis. I just don't know about that one. My son wants to go skydiving. Just don't know about it. You know what? I've seen too many GoPro accidents on YouTube, I think, to really be comfortable with skydiving. So if you're new here to the channel, we do talk about wood burning fairly often during the live streams, but we are also a wood burning community of real people, so we talk about all kinds of stuff. So if you're new here, kind of go back to the beginning. You can skim through where we talked about some of the more technical wood burning stuff, but just know that everybody here is welcome, and we don't talk exclusively about wood burning. We just kind of chit chat like a group of friends. So I think that's something that is really, really wonderful in this world of like everybody's so disconnected because, you know, with the internet, it doesn't really bring us together. It can, but I think a lot of people are lonely, and anyway, this is our community, so welcome. Everybody's like, no, we're not skydiving. Yep, we are a family here. Oh, great. I love the stories, guys. Thank you for everybody for your support and like the family stories in the chat. It's just so nice to bring everybody together and to have that sense of connection. Okay, so we have some thicker lines up in here that are kind of fun. Just making sure you guys can still see me. If I ever get like out of the frame, just yell at me in the chat, and I'll see it eventually and make sure that we readjust. So anytime that you're working with a design like this, I mean, right now it looks really flat because we only have basically one thickness of lines. I mean, I do have some that are a little bit thinner than others, but generally it's all kind of the same. So if you want to add some interest in there and some depth, go back and start adding in some darker, or I guess I could say thicker lines that are half again as thick as the first lines. And that can really add some easy interest to your project. Thanks everybody for all your support. Tara, you just yell at me. That's okay. You can yell at me. Say, hey, you're not even in the picture anymore. Yeah, the eyes are really coming to life. I will add a little bit more shading onto those, so that'll be fun. Keep in mind that I am working within the limits of this point. It is, even though it's a mini flow point, it is kind of chunky still, as far as being able to create like really delicate stuff. Where am I? Okay, so I'm gonna come, I think, over on this side. I'll get to that ear maybe later. We'll see. And we're just gonna start adding some of these darker zones. Thanks everybody. Yeah, I think the eyes definitely are starting to pop, and it's looking a lot better. Some of these little lines over here are a little bit more delicate than what I want to burn with the mini flow point, so I might wait to do those until a little bit later. But we have some neat shadowy areas kind of underneath certain parts of the picture, which is pretty cool. Thanks, guys. Yep, it's coming along together pretty well. Starting to focus more on the burning, and I'm not talking as much. It's probably not a bad thing, though. And so we do have some of these like dark chunky sections in here that we can burn. Like down here there's a lot of them. Now let me see if you can see the reference photo. Like, see, we do have some gradients in here, so make sure that when you're burning these areas you still kind of feather them out like I'm about to do here. Let's see, we have, yeah, so this is basically a mirrored image here, and I'm going to make sure that I feather out this area so it's going to be dark at the top and it's going to come and get lighter at the bottom. So you can actually do just some lines like that to start with and get that dark section blocked in, and then we'll soften it with like a shading point. Kind of like this. But that gets you a little bit of a head start on some of those darker tones, so that when it comes time to blend it, it's not that big of a deal. So, hold on, let me move. See here as far as where would be the best zone for you guys to see. Come on, stay together. Okay, how's that, guys? You can kind of see both everything. Cool. But that's just kind of like a little bit of a time saver when you're dealing with gradients and you're working with a chunky point. Just kind of do that gradient wispy effect like that. And then you can blend it together a little bit later. Or you could keep it kind of wispy like that too if you like that effect. So this whole thing right here is like really dark. Thanks, TH. Yeah, please go ahead and like the video. Likes are always really appreciated. Subscribe to the channel. Sometimes I do impromptu live streams where I just kind of like show up and do stuff. I haven't done that for a little while, but the summer is crazy, so I hope to get back into kind of like little pop-up classes a little bit later this fall. And if you, sorry, lost my train of thought. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, then you get notifications of any time I go live, or if I have something scheduled to go live, or if I post a new video or anything like that. So it's kind of a nifty way to stay in the loop. Hi.
That would be clicking the bell.
Oh, that's right. You have to click the bell. My son says, subscribe to the channel and then click the bell for notifications. Then you'll, thank you. Then you will be notified of,
Go live, post a video, upload anything.
yep, of all the things that I'm doing. Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome. Also, hi, people.
Will says hi. Will is making the pizza.
Yes, I am.
He is the pizza man. Mina says thanks.
Yep. You're welcome.
Everybody says hi.
Hello.
Laura says hi. Larry says good point. Lisa says hi. Mina says hi. Barbara says hi. TH. Tracy, Mellow Yellow, Beverly, Cheryl, Dennis, they all say hi, Will.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, he's like right up there.
I'm Hand. Hello.
He's the hand man. He's the pizza man.
Hello. Hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Terry says hello.
Hello. Back to pizza.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Yep. I've had the birds as well.
Oh, thank you. The turkeys were out.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
We saw Droopy way down the mountain, Will.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the other turkeys are being mean to him, and he's kind of on his own now.
Aw. That's no good.
No, but he's still alive.
Amazingly.
So far. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Poor old bird. So, let's see. Steve, Angela, and Jim also say hi.
Hello.
So I'm just kind of blocking in some of these darker sections here. This is what we are kind of, we're working on negative space. We're burning around the white areas to create the positive space. We can't really create light values with our wood burner. We can create subtle shades of darker values. So anything that is light in the image, you have to burn around it. And that's where you're dealing with the negative space effect. Because if you're painting, you can just like take a blob of white paint and, you know, put it there, and then you have your positive white space. But wood burning is so unique because we are just basically dealing in shades of darkness. So it's definitely a unique art medium. Yeah, guys, Droopy, the other tom turkeys have chased him off, and he's no longer up here at the house getting corn. So we saw him earlier this week, quite a ways from the house, farther down on our property, but we saw him, I think, yesterday or the day before anyway. Even farther away, but he was right near, we have a few springs on the property, so he was down near a spring, so he's got fresh water, and there's so many things to eat right now. He can eat grasshoppers and grass seed and little bugs and all kinds of things, so, which is probably best because he has something in him that's not very good. Like every time he runs, there's a popping noise. I don't know if he's got a dislocated something, but so Droopy, guys, if you're new here, Droopy is a wild turkey that we've been talking about Droopy for a long time on our live streams, but Droopy is a wild turkey that we've been feeding, and he's not in very good shape. He's a very old turkey, and we feed our turkeys, the wild turkeys, corn because we like them and we like them to be around because they're cool. And we don't hunt them or anything. We just really enjoy them being here. And we've been feeding Droopy for many years, and he's just an old turkey now. And all the other toms have chased him off, so it's probably best that he's kind of off on his own right now because he doesn't have to run from the other toms as much. So he can conserve energy that way, but nice to know that he's still around. Barbara says he's a survivor. He is. He can retire in Georgia. You know, we've thought about like trying to catch him or tranquilize him or something, but he'd probably just die. So we're just letting nature take its course because there's not much that you can do for an old geriatric turkey. So, So Barbara, you're making a sign to hang up next to your hummingbird feeder with hummingbird rules. I like it. That's great. We have a lot of birds here too. I love it, Barbara. Barbara says her hummingbird sign, no spitting, no pooping in the plastic flowers, no harassing the humans to refill the feeder. I love it. The birds are going crazy right now. I don't know if it's the heat or whatnot, but we are filling our bird feeders. We have, I think, 4 big feeders out, and we're filling them every day, at least once a day. So I buy sugar in bulk because it's cheaper that way. So I have 5-gallon buckets of sugar, like for the hummingbirds. They're so cool. They're so fun. We love our little mountain critter family up here. So I don't know if you guys noticed the pattern here is really pretty cool. It has some neat aspects to it. Like, look down here. Doesn't this look like the lower section of teeth? The wolf teeth, see that? Isn't that cool? And then in here you have like some teeth effects there, but I thought this part here at the bottom was really cool because it looks like really elongated wolf fangs as part of the ornamental part down below. I think it's pretty cool. Let me see, let me move this back over. Am I, can you guys see okay? Am I zoomed out enough and all that jazz? Let me know. I might go ahead and switch over to the shading point and let's add in a little bit of shading because shading is fun. Okay, cool. Wow, yep. So Larry Hendricks, you don't have hummingbirds at your feeder right now, darn. I know a lot of people like in the lower areas, the lower valley below us, they don't have a lot of hummingbirds either. I think a lot of them are up in the high country just because of the heat, and they're kind of following the wildflowers too. Where is she? Does she need water?
She's at the back and go for it.
She's at the back door?
Yeah, she wants out.
Oh, well she can go out.
There you go.
Oh shoot, I still need to water the garden. We have a gopher that ate through our gardening hose, and so now it's leaking. I patched it once and then he ate through it again. I don't know if he's just like really thirsty, because I wouldn't imagine that garden hose would taste very good. But I have to patch the hose before I can water the garden. So this is one of my favorite parts, is adding the shading. I think it really just helps everything to come alive. Remember, if we want that rounded appearance, we need to burn a little bit darker on each side and then rounded and lighter in the middle, because these sections here kind of have that rounded appearance. Alright, let's add some fun stuff here around the eyes. And remember, whenever you're burning eyes, there's usually a gradient towards the top. It's not very noticeable in this picture, but I'm going to maybe accentuate it a little bit. Which is pretty cool. Look at the difference there, guys, with the eyes and how that makes it just pop a little bit more. So eyes are actually very simple. Just remember, you need that gradient, dark at the top, lighter towards the bottom. Sometimes you can even get like a rounded darkness at the bottom edge, kind of like that. That's pretty cool. So I'll show you those up close. There you go. So I have a dark gradient at the top, it tapers down, and then I have a little bit of a darker area underneath the eye as well. So that helps to create those really cool eyes. Now there's actually quite a bit of like intricate lines and stuff in here. I'm just gonna kind of probably focus on some of the shading right now though. And then we can add those little lines in a little bit later. Now there's not a whole lot of shading on this project, so I might be kind of embellishing a little bit more or adding more shading than what you see on the picture. But just feel free to use your artistic license on this as far as how you shade it and where you shade it. And just really have fun, because it is a very unique design, and it doesn't have to be hyper realistic or anything. You can just really play with this and have a lot of fun with your shading and shade different areas, maybe a little bit more, some areas a little bit less. Now remember, anytime that you're shading, a lot of times dark values push back, light values pull forward. So keep that in mind when you are shading. So like right here is probably going to be much lighter. As it fades over here, it's going to be darker just because it's pushing away from the viewer. So as kind of a general rule for shading, think about, is this part of my subject closer or farther away? And then that can kind of help you determine where to add shading and how much. Anything that's overlapped, the item on the bottom is going to be shaded a little bit darker than the one on top as well. So if you're a little bit unsure on shading as far as what to shade and where, just kind of take a step back and think, okay, what items are closer to me? Let's leave those unshaded or lightly shaded. What areas are a little bit farther away or possibly in shadow or overlapped? You can make those a little bit darker. So kind of like that. So I think I'm going to add a little bit more shading here. And then it's going to get lighter up here on the, like the eyebrow, the brow of the wolf. And then we have a little bit of overlapping here. So I'm going to do kind of a gradient pulling away from the overlap. You don't really have to worry about putting in first strokes. Your shading can be actually quite smooth, and that's fine. Oh. Okay. Thanks, guys. Yep, it's coming along pretty well. And yes, shading is a lot of fun. Now this is just kind of like an initial pass of shading. You can always go back and add a little bit more, take a step back, see what needs to be adjusted or improved. Possibly if you don't like the idea of you know, this area needs improved, you could also say like adjusted. This area needs adjusted or slightly altered. We need to maybe add a little bit more to it. So here's a great area of kind of some overlapping where it's darker at the top and it fades down into kind of a gradient. Gradients are so fun. I love gradients. They add so much depth to a project. This is turning out pretty fun, guys. And we can still go back in and add some of these thicker lines. You can do that with the shading point. It does take a little bit longer, but just you can switch back and forth between points or just use whatever burner or point is more comfortable for you. Like I have a board with 3 of the VersaTools running all the time, or at least for this project. Not all the time, depends on what I'm creating, but for this project I have 3 VersaTools running with 3 different points, so I can easily switch back and forth and burn different textures as I kind of would like. But if you only have one VersaTool, keep in mind that anytime you need to switch this thing out, you will have to let the burner cool down for about, at least 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and then switch points with the needle nose pliers. Do not try to change the points out with your fingers, because if you thought you turned off the burner and you didn't turn off the burner and you go to grab it, burns suck. So don't do that. Make sure you always change out the points with needle nose pliers. And then the problem with changing out points while the burner is hot is because hot metal kind of expands and there's threads in there. And if you force this thing out, the point out when it's hot, and then you force like a cold point down into the hot threads, you're going to have a problem. You're probably going to damage either the threads on the point, you could damage the point, you could damage the threads inside the burner, or all of the above. So that is why it is a little bit tedious to switch back and forth between points. Generally, like for realistic stuff, I would always use just this one shading point. I am kind of branching out and using some other, like the Pro Point, the Mini Point, and stuff like that on certain projects, but that's why I have 3 burners ready to go. But if you only have the one burner, stick with one kind of general plan. So if you have the mini flow point in the burner, do all of the line work and then turn off your burner, let it cool down, take a break, stretch your legs, put in a new point, let the burner warm back up, and then go and like burn all the dark chunky sections and get the whole piece done with all the chunky sections, and then take out, turn off the burner, let it cool down, take off the point, and repeat until you get your other point, and then you can do the shading work. So it kind of saves you time that way if you only have one point, to just do all the line work and then all the dark work and then all the shading. So I hope that makes sense, but that is one thing that I do that I think maybe a lot of people don't do, is have multiple burners going at the same time. Hi, Vivian. I know, I'm so sorry about the schedule change with the live streams on Thursdays now. So another thing that the shading point is good for is some really fine lines. So some of these lighter lines I can go ahead and lay in with the shading point. I didn't transfer in all of them because I wanted to kind of add them in as I go, or decide which ones I really like and which ones I don't want to keep. So the shading point is really great for just those really dainty lines as well. Because there's like a lot of them up in here. Where am I? Oh, I didn't transfer that on. Haha. That's why it's not there. So just putting in some more delicate fine line work is kind of fun. You can add that in at any time if you want to do it up front or later on. It's all pretty cool. So this is kind of a fun little gradiated area here. Gradiated? I don't know if that's a word, but gradient. There's a gradient here. Oh yes, Mina, there is a new blog post released today on Wood Burning University about the power of planning. So make sure that you check that out. Thank you, Mina, for that reminder and for getting that all set up. There's also some more patterns on Wood Burning University. So I think I added 10 more patterns to Wood Burning University today. So if you haven't stopped over at Wood Burning University in the last week, go ahead and take a look, check out the blog post, check out the new patterns, and kind of see what is new at Wood Burning U. And I'm kind of just skimming the chat, so my admins, if you see anything that's like a big question that I missed, please give me a shout and remind me, because I know people are just kind of conversing and talking, and that's great. Vivian, you don't have a memory problem. In order to have that, you need a memory. That's very good. I like that. But if I do miss somebody's wood burning related question, please repost it or have the admins shout at me or highlight my name or the Wood Burning University tag or something like that, because that all helps. Because I'm trying to manage the chat and also try to keep moving here. So when multitasking, I do tend to slip through the cracks a little bit here and there. So I'm just making up little designs here for some of these fine lines, which is pretty fun. It doesn't have to match the reference photo. You can really have fun and just make your own little geometric patterns. Okay, so you guys saw the new patterns. Very cool. Yep. New patterns each week, a new blog post each week, just to keep things alive and fun and fresh and interesting. So and it's so fun when you reburn this, or burn it. I see like areas that I forgot to transfer on, so that's always fun. That's when you get to do freehand burning, because I completely forgot to transfer this thing on, and now I have to just like make it work. right, guys, how we looking so far? I think this is pretty fun. Come on, here we go. Okay. I'm just kind of bouncing all over here, guys, but that's okay. Not a whole lot of like order of operations here, a little bit. Line work, shading, block work, fine details. Good night, Lisa. Thanks for being here. Thanks. I'm glad that it's looking good, that you guys think it's looking good. What is everybody working on project-wise? If you want to share with everybody what you're working on right now, go ahead and throw that into the chat. It doesn't have to be art related, guys. You can even just share what's kind of going on in your life right now and what's kind of the main thing that you're working on right now, whether it's art or gardening or whatever. So see, I do have a little bit of that overlapping here. To create that sense of overlapping, I love gradients that are dark at the top and lighter at the bottom. To create, oh, it's almost like an illusion of a shadow. And like this little chunky piece here, it looks almost like a wolf tooth. It dives underneath the previous layer. So it's a great way of adding kind of layers of depth to your project is with overlapping elements. And sometimes it's not very like strong on the reference photo, or you can just kind of push those values a little bit more to create more overlapping elements, and that's fine. TH, you're not doing anything, you're behind in your work. Yep, I understand that. Vivian is wedding photos. Gotcha. We have dog portraits and pastels, pyrography pieces for a show from Barbara. Laura has a crochet sweater. Nice. Also a covered bridge and bee coasters. Love it, guys. Larry's working on projects. A very cool architectural project Larry's working on. So here we have a little bit more of these little fine, these remind me of corn cobs here, guys, or rattlesnake tails. See those down there? They almost look like rattlesnake tails or corn cob. Maybe they're rattlesnake tails. When I was transferring these on down here, I thought they looked like little corn cobs. I don't know if I was hungry, maybe. They almost look like rattlesnake tails. I suppose wolves and rattlesnakes would go better together than wolves and corn cobs. Just a thought. Barbara, you have all kinds of projects going on. Mina, you were working on the old ship, but you had a commission of a kitchen board with a wine scene, so that's so exciting. Commissions are always exciting. Very, very good. Larry plays the mandolin. Very cool. Terry, you're still packing and cleaning. Oh dear. This too shall pass. You will find your wonderful new place and get everything set up, and it'll all be wonderful. Thanks, Vivian. Yeah, the eyes are turning out pretty well. Angela's transferring a lion onto a round piece of pine to work on colored pencil. Cool. Yeah, I can't burn on pine very well either. It does bother my lungs. I do have some pine that we cut up here that are really big and they're beautiful, but I have to wear a respirator when burning pine, and now that my studio is in the living room, I can't just shut the door and contain those fumes with a respirator, so I can't work on anything sketchy like that. But I think that painting or working on pine with, like Angela's doing with colored pencil or any kind of a pigment like that, might be a great way to use up some of that, some of those woods that are not quite the best to burn on. Whether they have bad spots or they're just a not very healthy piece of wood, that's all good. Tracy, you're still house hunting as well, but working on some landscapes. Cool. Beverly, you're selling at Craft Market for 3 days. Wow. What is the biggest seller at craft shows? I have not taken, well, let me rephrase that. I have not taken my wood burnings to a craft fair in a very long time. What I did take in the past, I was in the wrong market. I didn't sell anything because my pieces were overpriced for that market. I was a brand new artist. I didn't know anything about craft fairs or pricing very well, but I was in the wrong demographics, so I didn't sell any wood burnings at that craft fair, which was kind of frustrating. But like, I have sold a lot of prints of wood burnings now at craft fairs. I've learned not to take my originals because they tend to, it's easier to damage originals at a craft fair if you're not careful. If you have originals at a craft fair, please be careful if you put them on a table in front of people, because sometimes people have drinks. I've had people spill full drinks of liquid onto my table. Fortunately, I had jewelry that I could just wash off, but if they were original wood burnings, they would all been ruined. So generally, if you have anything of value, you might consider hanging it on a wall. It's a little bit harder for people to spill things on artwork that's on a wall. Sorry, just throwing some ideas out there, but as far as bestsellers for wood burnings, I would say like spirit animals. You know, sometimes people get really connected to a certain animal, like wolves, owls, lions, bears. Those are all really great, even elephants. Those are all really great subjects for selling originals because people have an emotional attachment to them. Excuse me. I just like inhaled spit. Sorry. Other times, like certain dog breeds can sell well. Just take a look at popular breeds. You know, German Shepherds, Golden Retrievers, like the little wiener dogs, anything like that can be really good. But I find that the majority of originals sell because of an emotional connection to the subject. So trains work really well as well. A lot of people get very nostalgic with trains. But if you're just starting out, you could try those things. I have always been very leery of burning anything, you know, like the Avengers or Disney-based stuff, because you can get severely hammered on the copyright issue on those things unless you get a license from Disney or Marvel. You're kind of crossing into a dangerous zone. But I do know that those things sell really well at craft fairs too. So some craft fairs will not allow you to bring copyrighted stuff. But if you want to go like to a Comic-Con event, you know, where it's like, hey, this is a Star Wars event, you're going to have Star Wars artwork out the wazoo, and it's going to be everywhere, and then people don't really care. So make sure you read the fine print on your craft fair. Generally, I think smaller pieces sell better at craft fairs because people are there to buy little gifts for, you know, grandma, grandpa, my aunt, my uncle, something like that. We want something just like a little bit, not too expensive. So as far as a beginning craft fair, I would have a lot, if you're doing originals, have a lot of small pieces. If you can make larger pieces quickly, you can incorporate those, but don't cheapen your time with the how long it takes you to make it and the amount of material that you have. So a little bit of a long answer there, but craft fairs, just there's a lot to it. I'm doing more and more. I've learned a lot with that. So I hope that answers your question. I hope that helps. I'm going to jump back up here and make sure. Oh my gosh, I've been talking for so long. Okay, there's so much going on in the chat here. So biggest sellers at craft shows, Beverly. I hope that answers your question. That was a very long-winded answer. Hopefully it gives you more information. Oh, Cheryl, you're working on a horse portrait. Oof. Black horse, poor quality photo. That is difficult. Very difficult. Larry H is making a room sign for your grandkids. Larry H also has analysis paralysis. Don't we all? I think that's part of artists. Like, oh, we're like, oh, I want to make that. Oh, I want to make that. And then we forget about all the other projects that we have in queue or in process. So, Vivian has been doing wedding portraits for the last 3 months. Hello, Luis. Glad you can be here. Does a fume extractor help? I have not used a fume extractor personally because generally I just work on basswood. At lower temperatures, it doesn't create that much of fumes. Honestly, from a safety perspective, if you are working with something that requires a fume extractor, I would suggest that you probably wear a respirator instead of hoping that this little tiny machine like pulls the smoke away. I don't know where the smoke goes, but the fumes are probably still going to be there. They're just not going to be in your face. So if you have any issues or concerns about safety with fumes, just wear a respirator. With like I think it's the organic compound cartridges, but take good care of your lungs. You could also even go outside, work outside if you're in a fairly comfortable climate. Keep in mind that any strong wind sources can lower your burner temp. But anyway, thoughts on that? I do not use a fume extractor. Any wood that I shouldn't be burning on that would need a fume extractor, I usually don't burn on. Some artists do like burn on pine and they use fume extractors. I am not one. I don't like pine. I don't like the way it burns because it doesn't really fit in with my style of artwork. A lot of people use pine and they love it. So to each their own on that one. Just be really safe and protect your lungs, please. Terry got some pieces of poplar. Poplar, it depends. There's varying degrees of basswood and there's varying degrees of poplar. Just make sure that, honestly, the test for me is if I start burning on something and I smell something strong, like a volatile oil or any kind of a strong smell, I might reconsider burning that just because it does have a strong smell. Basswood doesn't really have a strong smell, I don't think. Anything really smoky or very strong smelling, I would be careful with. But a lot of people do burn on poplar. It could be just a varying degree of quality of poplar. I generally just burn on basswood. I'm pretty consistent with that. Even cherry bothers my lungs a little bit. I have to be careful burning on cherry. Oh dear. So TH says that, like, at craft fairs, people want to use your wood burnings to ride on instead of the table. Oh my gosh, it would indent the wood and ruin it. Oh, you had to tell people not to ride on your wood burnings. Wow, that's really sad. Mina says that it is a good idea to take safety precautions when burning on poplar. Okay, thank you, Mina, because I know there is a post on Wood Burning University on the toxicity of different woods, so definitely take a look at that on Wood Burning University. Sorry, I'm really getting caught up here on the chat because I know we're closing down on the last few minutes here. I'm going to continue checking on the chat, but I just want to say that this is coming along quite well. You can see the kind of the goal as far as what we're doing. So if you want to break this down into steps, you know, do your fine outlining first, and then you can go back in with like a chunky point and put in some of these dark chunky areas, kind of gradiate them out. Excuse me, and then you can go back in with a shading point and kind of soften those up, blend them up a little bit, and then like add in lots of little fine intricacies that are here, like the little dots and wavy lines that are like up here and all those fun things. I didn't even transfer them onto the pattern because it's kind of almost subjective at that point. You might want to add some, you might not want to, so there's that. And let me double check here on the chat. Hi, Feel the Rat, glad that you can be here tonight. Good night, Dennis. I think I got behind again. Okay, right there. Barbara researched poplar for pyrography and she likes it. So Beverly, that's another great thing is wood burning. Wood is such a tactile medium. People are going to want to touch your wood burnings. They're either going to ask, you know, hey, can I touch it? Or they're just going to touch it. So a lot of times when I'm showcasing originals, I usually take prints and put them up on the wall, but then I have like a couple of originals like behind the desk that if you want to see an original, here is what it looks like. The originals that I hand out to people are clear coated because who knows what they have on their hands. It's just because they're going to touch it and feel it and put their hands all over it. And then you're going to get oils that transfer onto the wood and you're going to get dirty spots. So please make sure that if you do allow people to touch your wood burnings, that they are clear coated. You might even have just one that says you are allowed to touch this one, or just put up a sign that says no touching. But people are very, they like have to hold it and touch it to see how it's made. Some people are that way. So clear coat it and that will help with that. Hi.
Hi.
All good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, pizza's about ready.
Okay, sounds good. We're just kind of checking in here on the chat. And we're about there. Yeah, and some like really heavy textured pieces, I like to hand that to them because like with something stippling based, they can just really touch it and really get into that, but it's all shiny and clear coated, so it's protected. Yep, Larry H says that ornaments at Christmas time are very good sellers. Good night, Rich.
Good night.
Thanks so much for being here, guys. Cool. Just check it up on the chat. So, yeah, Tracy says that she was in shock. Tracy was in shock when they saw that the white birch was in the higher toxicity chart. So, yeah, wood does have different toxicity levels. Anything that you're not sure on, please research quite a bit before you start burning on that. Where'd it go? My chat just jumped. Where'd it go? Oh, right there. Steve, do I ever burn on gourds or bamboo? I did burn on bamboo one time when I was a brand new beginner because I didn't know, I just bought a sample, from wherever. I did not like burning on bamboo because of all the little cells and all that. Bamboo is very hard to burn on. It makes the point want to jump a lot. Bamboo is probably one of my leaster most unpleasant woods to burn on, let me say that. I really did not enjoy burning on bamboo. I have not burned on gourds because I do have asthma, and people that do burn on gourds say that it can damage your lungs long term. So, and then the three-dimensional surface, I think would be a nightmare to try to transfer an image onto a three-dimensional surface. So I don't burn on gourds, and I won't burn on bamboo again just because it's, I find it very annoying and difficult to work with. And I like realism, so I can't really do realism on bamboo. All right. Larry H. also says, which was the starting point before the shader? Was that the Pro Point or another? I really did not use the Pro Point tonight. I just used the Mini Flow Point for the line work. And then I jumped over to the shading point for the darker sections and the shading. Good night, Jeff. Thank you everybody for hanging in here, guys. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock. We made a lot of good progress on this, and this portion right here is almost done. So next week we will be in August. So 1, 2, 3, August 3rd will be our next live stream. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, August 3rd will be our next live stream on Thursday night at 6 o'clock, and we will keep working on our wolf. Hopefully, I don't know, we'll just see what we can do. We made a lot of good progress on this tonight, and hopefully you guys kind of see the path taken for that. So, all right. So, thanks again so much for everybody being here. I really appreciate it, and I hope you all have a fantastic week. All right, good night, guys.